also want to use this opportunity to appeal to our religious leaders, our traditional rulers, to use their office to ensure that peace reigns in this country. Because without peace, there can't be development. And we need development. Because it is my own desire that we will hand over onto our children a banner without stain, a country that is better than what was handed over to us. And we can't achieve that, cannot be done when there's no peace, when there's no unity. So we must learn to work together as one. We don't have another nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. So we must do everything within our power to ensure that we have the country of our collective, of our dream.
All right. Now let me move to the leadership newspaper now. King at last, Tinubu's long journey to president.
Real long journey to president. There were a lot of challenges, issues about his health, issues about corruption, issues, a lot of fake news, misinformation, disinformation about him. But the will of God has finally prevailed. I wish him the very best of luck, and I pray and hope that he will use this opportunity to unite Nigerians, to bring Nigerians together, irrespective of religion, irrespective of ethnicity, because evidence has shown that he's loved everywhere. He won in Rivers, he won in Benue, won in Jigawa, won in Zamfara, Zamfara, one in Borno, one in Kogi, one in Ekiti, one in Oyo, one in Ogun, one in Kwara. That is an evidence that Nigerians love him. So he must work to reciprocate the trust that Nigerians have in him. And then he must also learn to forgive those that might have offended him in the course of his journey to victory.
All right. Yeah. Let's move to the Guardian newspaper now. Amid protest, INEC declares Tinubu winner.
Yes, INEC should, because Nigeria is not a lawless country. There are the Constitution provides the means of expressing the satisfaction. An election has taken place, a winner has emerged. He has fulfilled, according to INEC chairman, he has fulfilled the electoral requirements to be declared the winner of the 2023 presidential election, which took place on Saturday, 25th February 2023. So he should be declared the winner. And then out of 18 parties, I think only 3 are contesting, or maybe let me say 2 are contesting the INEC results. The law court is the election tribunal is there that they can approach and if they are not satisfied with the results at the tribunal, they can also approach the appeal courts and the Supreme Court. And then I'm glad that at least the election, despite although we had pockets of violence here and there, and then there were itches, but the election took place in a peaceful environment, and to a large extent I would say that it was free and fair, because I also served as a domestic observer, and I saw the way Nigerians conducted themselves, although there were some breaches.
All right. Now let's go to some of the issues that arose hours before the declaration of results. PDP LP step up pressure on INEC to cancel exercise order fresh poll.
Yes. With that, while watching the drama on the television, I brought to my mind the story of King Solomon in the Bible. The woman, there were 2 women, one child, one lost a child while sleeping, while the other child was alive. The one whose child was dead wanted the living child. divided into two.
Okay.
She was demanding that the living child be killed, because there's no way you divide a living child into two and the child will remain alive. You won't have two children. You have a dead child. And then I think I think that was where King Solomon's level of wisdom was discovered, and that made him to be declared the wisest man that ever lived. Because from the attitude of both women, the woman with the living child didn't want her child killed. The woman wanted the child killed, and that made the king to know that that woman was the actual owner of the child. Because if she wasn't, she wouldn't have also minded if the child was killed, so that the two of them will have no child. Politicians must remember that we have only one country, and whatever the situation may be, there will always be a winner and there will always be a loser. The unfortunate thing is that in this country is that we do not have the spirit of sportsmanship. We don't ever like to lose. We ought to win at all times. And whenever we lose, we always cry that there's a foul play. We look for excuses to ensure to scuttle the victory of the other person. But this time around, a winner has emerged. Out of 18 political parties, registered political parties in Nigeria, I would say about 15 and a half of them are with INEC. So I want to use this opportunity to congratulate INEC for the good job done. But there is room for improvement. I pray they improve on that. I also expect, as a domestic observer, there were reports that were supposed to be submitted at specific intervals. We had challenges assessing the forms to be used to submit those reports, which is so I understand what INEC experienced on that day. And then Nigerians must also not forget that this is the first time that we're using that results are being transmitted from polling units. And then INEC never had the opportunity of test running it. Some people have made reference to the election that took place in Ekiti, in Osun. Those were not general. That wasn't a general election. They were off-season election. It was not a general one. So not everybody was sending information to the server at the same time. So the prayer is one thing that we must realize. Most of the ad hoc staff were trying, and then money that was supposed to be released to INEC about a year ago wasn't released until a few days to the election. So I also want to believe that INEC was unable to train some of the ad hoc workers, because the recruitment had to be done quickly within the available time frame. I hope that INEC would have improved on this by the election that we're coming up in 2 weeks' time, and by 2027 it will be a lot better. And then Nigerians must also not forget that the result that we were expecting to see was a scanned copy of the hard copy of the result. Not a handwritten, not that, and is a hard copy of the same report result that all the party agents had, because copies were given to all the party agents, to the political parties that had agents at all the polling units had a copy of the results. So if there were issues, those issues ought to have been resolved at that point. If they were not able to resolve them at that point, there was a ward level, the local government level, before it went to the state, before it went to Abuja, to the National Coalition Center. So ordinarily, I didn't expect the kind of protests that I saw, despite some of the itches that I had mentioned, which I believe was not deliberate, but unavoidable, based on the circumstances that surrounded the preparation for that election.
All right. Now, let's move to the business day. Still on the issues shortly before the declaration. PDP, LP, ADC asked INEC chairman to resign.
I'm not sure that there's any reason for that. He has not done anything that should warrant his resigning from office. What I want to say is that we should encourage him to improve on the areas where lapses have been identified. Yes, results, I think INEC over-promised, but under-delivered. But that wasn't, I want to believe that was not done deliberately to manipulate the results. I think it was an unexpected and that wasn't it was a development that was not expected and that was not prepared for. If there was a plan B, maybe there wouldn't have been any need for the protest. But because INEC expected the best, forgetting that ordinarily we have challenges with the internet services in Nigeria, with telecom network services in Nigeria. There are times that people transfer money, and the money you won't even get a debit alert in good time. The person to whom you have sent the money may also not get the credit alert in good time. And if there is no trust, there is the possibility of one party doubting the credibility of the other. So these are some of the challenges. Our technology is just we're still struggling. So, but INEC didn't envisage that it was going to be such a failure. So almost a total failure of in the ability of the ad hoc staff to upload the results in good time. If the results had been uploaded in good time, that level of protest would have been avoided. There would have been no need for it. But for the fact that every political party had an agent and a polling unit, and they signed the results. They went to the ward level, the local governments, before the states and then the national level. So I just want to appeal to them to let them put partisan politics together and behind them and join hands together with the president-elect so that we can have a better country.
All right. Okay. Now, but on the Blueprint newspaper, the INEC chairman is calling them, is saying that calls for my resignation misplaced. Yakubu tells opposition.
I agree with him. Just based on the explanation I have given, I'm sure that the lapses noticed were not intentional. They were not done deliberately to manipulate the results as being expressed by those that protested. This is because that the level of trust in Nigeria is actually very low. We do not often trust government agencies because we believe that every Nigerian is corrupt. But we have some Nigerians that are not so corrupt. So I think what we need to do now is encourage Professor Yakub Mahmoud to improve on the areas where lapses have been noticed so that we can have a better election exercise next time.
All right. Now, one of the demands by the protesters was that the election should have been transmitted through, electronically, the result of the election.
Yes, that is the requirement of the the amended 2022.
The Senate President was telling them that the electronic transmission of results was not in the Electoral Act.
No, what I'm trying to explain is even this. What was to be transmitted was the scanned copy of the hard copy of the results. Scanned copy.
Scanned copy. All right. Let's move to another issue. Federal government Akinrin to Obasanjo on 2023 polls. Ex-President Medusa can't thwart choice of millions of Nigerians.
I agree with Nigerians that have spoken about the letter written. I think based on moral standing, former President Matthew Aremu Ikikiola Olusegun Obasanjo shouldn't have come out openly as he's an old man, and one would have expected him to behave as an elder statesman, haven't had the opportunity of ruling this country twice. So he is not the one that should be seen as making an attempt to scuttle the election. The election that we had on Saturday is much better than what we had in 2019. An election in 2019 was much better than the election we had in 2015. And I remember late President Yar'Adua saying that the election that brought him into office was corrupt. And the person that conducted under whose watch that election was conducted is the same person that is now complaining about the election of 2023. So ordinarily, one wouldn't, based on morally, he doesn't have a moral standing to oppose the outcome of that election, especially since he is not neutral. He has a preferred candidate. So it will be seen as if he wants to force his own will on Nigerians. Leaders don't behave like that. Elder statesmen don't behave like that. Elder statesmen always want to ensure that things work well. They do a lot of things behind the scene to ensure that there are no breakdown of law and order in the society. So that there can be peace, so that there can be unity, so that there can be development. They don't put their personal interest above national interest. And what one would have expected the former president to do is to do everything possible to douse the tension instead of doing things
to hit up the quality.
That will hit up the quality. And it makes me to remember this phrase from what's his name now? Just the author of Kuromi, who said they asked Mr. Tortis when he was about to go on the journey. And Tortis said, Mr. Tortis, when will you return? And Mr. Tortis replied by saying, not until I have been disgraced. Disgraced. It is unfortunate that former President Obasanjo is exposing himself to unnecessary embarrassment. Those who should be looking up to him are now calling him names based on his utterances and action. I only hope that he will retrace his steps and start acting as an elder statesman from now upward.
All right. Thank you, Citizen Lolawe. We have to go now because of our time. Thank you for coming on the program today.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank
Look
you.
forward to being here again next week.
All right, thank you very much. Viewers at home, we have to go now because of our time. Thank you for staying tuned with us. Tomorrow is another time when you meet another of my colleagues who will be presenting you another edition of the program. Until then, I am Kayode Adebayo Baba.
Hello viewers, welcome to your darling station OSBC. Come enjoy a rich menu of programs.